About a year ago, I started having a problem with my 2006 Chevy Silverado, where when I would open the driver's door up, the stereo wouldn't turn off. Even though the key was completely in the off position or even removed, the stereo would stay on, including the dome light. In addition to that, the warning bell that would tell you that you left your keys in the ignition, it wouldn't come on either. Well, I tracked the problem down to the main latch on the door. There's a contact inside there that tells the system when this door is open, and that contact has gotten completely dirty and it wasn't working. It was pretty simple to determine that this was the problem because all I had to do was to push up right here, and then the key alarm would come on and the stereo would go off. Now, a year ago, I took it out and I cleaned that contact, and it worked fine after that for about a year. But now here I am again with it not working. So this time I'm going to change out the entire assembly. Now I'll also do another video after this one that shows how to clean that contact, just in case you need to do that. It is a quick way to fix it, even though you have to take the assembly completely out. I'll put a link to that video in the description for this video when it's available. This is the AC Delco replacement that I bought on eBay. The first thing that we need to do is remove this entire door panel. Once you have the screws and the plug out, you should be able to just lift this door panel right up to take it off. Something that you're going to watch for is this cord right here to this marker light. Be sure to pull that out before you take the panel completely off. Next, you're going to want to rotate the door panel around a little over 90 degrees so that you have access to all of these plugs. The first one to take off is the one for the speaker. Just push down on this tab right there and then pull it. Next, we'll take the connectors off the window and lock controllers. On this first one, just push on this tab that's right on the left side there and pull it out. You can see the tab right here. Next, we'll take this one out. Same thing, there's a tab on the left side. Push it down and pull it out. The next one we'll take out is this large plug here. There's a tab that you need to push down right behind this metal bar. Push down on that tab and at the same time pull the bar back. And then just push the bar over as far as it'll go. Then that plug will just come right out of there. You can see that tab right there. And the last one is on the bottom, and there's a tab right on top here. Push it down and pull. With the panel off, just go ahead and pull this plastic back and tape it back so that it's not going to get in your way. Now we'll have access to the back side of this latch assembly. There's 4 rods that connect to it and 3 wires. We'll disconnect the wires first, and this first wire is pretty easy to get to. You can see there's a tab on the bottom right here. All you got to do is pull down on that tab, and then you can pull the plug out. So you can see the tab right there, how it was locked in. The next connector that we're going to remove is on the very top of the assembly. And you can see it right here. Now the way that I found that makes it easier to remove that one is to use a screwdriver through this hole and to put it underneath that green tab and lift up on it and then pull from the inside. So you can see the plug there and the tab, the locking tab. Now you can see the last connector right down in here. And that's also on the top of the latch assembly. It's just on the left side of it. So I'll use this new latch assembly to show you exactly how the wires were hooked up inside the door. Now the latch assembly was sitting like that roughly, and the first one that we took off was this one. Just pulled that tab down and pull it out. The next one that we pulled out, and we used a screwdriver on it to lift that tab up, was this one. Same thing. Lift it and pull it back. And this was the last one. Now we're going to disconnect the 4 rods that hook up to this latch assembly. The assembly sits in the door like this, and the first rod that we're going to disconnect comes down from the top and goes through that hole. Now to release it, just pull back on this little lever right here and pick up on the top, and it'll fold out and release that rod. So that's the first one that we're going to do. The next rod that we're going to release comes through this hole right here. Now these don't have like an interlock like this one did. All you have to do is where the rod pokes through right here, and you'll see the end of it. You just need to apply pressure and push it back, and it'll pop right out. Okay, on this one, I was actually able to use a screwdriver to slide in there, and you can see if I pull on the actual door handle here, it pulls it back. But I was able to put that down in there and push on it and pop it out that way. Once I got it in place, all I had to do was just pull back and apply some pressure, and it would pop it out. Just like that. Now this next one, it's going to be hard to show once I've got my hands in here and stuff, so I'll show it to you ahead of time. You can see the rod right there is going through the same type of interlock thing. All we need to do is put a little pressure on the back side with the screwdriver, and then use my other hand and just push this rod over that direction. And that one came out pretty easy. I just pushed on it with the screwdriver. Now the last rod that we're going to disconnect, we're going to do a little differently. It actually connects up right here, and then it goes up and it connects to the key lock in the door on the outside. We're not going to disconnect it right here. We're going to unhook it from the key lock assembly. It's much easier. And then we'll bring that rod out with the assembly, and then we'll hook the rod back on here before we put this one back in. Now you can see the end of the rod right here where it hooks up to the key lock assembly. Now the trick to disconnecting this end of the rod from that key assembly is to push this red plastic piece over this direction. It'll pop right off of that rod. And when we do get it disconnected, we can just lift this end of the rod out of the hole that it's in, because it's bent at a 90-degree angle right there. And so now you can see that all we have to do is slide that over, and then this rod will come right out. There's not even an interlock on it on the end of it at all. It just pops right out. Okay, next we're going to use a T30 tip, and we're going to remove these 3 screws right there. Alright, now we should be able to pull that assembly right out of there. Now you can see the last rod that we worked on, that we left connected to the assembly. We'll take this one off and we'll put it on the new one before we put the new one in. This is the new assembly now, so we'll go ahead and reconnect the rod that we took off the old one. Use the end of the rod that has the little groove in it. That's the interlock that keeps it in here. Just insert it from this side and push. Just like that. So just get the holes lined up and put the 3 screws back in. So we're going to hook up the other end of that rod that goes to the key lock. Before we do though, make sure that this other rod right here is free of it. Then we can just put the other end of that rod back in the hole and pull that clip, that red clip, back down and push on it. Just like that. The next rod we'll hook up is the one that comes from the inside door handle. And that'll go on the top. Using this old one, I'll show you, it goes in this top part right here. Just push it in far enough to where it snaps into place. The next rod will connect to the bottom hole. Same thing, once you get it started in the hole, just keep pushing it and you'll hear it pop when it locks into place. Just like that. And the final rod that we're going to connect is this one. Just lay it inside, fold this over, and you'll hear it snap. And now we'll hook the wire connectors back up. First one goes right here. You can see it's the blue one with the the green insulator on it, and the clip goes down on this one. Just push it in. The next connector that we're going to hook up is the green one, and that goes in the top right, the white socket. And you don't have to worry about these connectors going in the wrong socket. They only fit the one they're intended for. And now we'll hook up the last connector that will go into this socket right here. It's going to be a little out of view when I'm putting it in there. So now we'll go ahead and put the door panel back on and then try it out. Alright, I turned it on, got the radio on. The keys are still in the ignition even though it's completely off now. And now we'll open the door. Look at that. Perfect.